Welcome back to Acadiana's Morning News. Bernadette Lee continues her tradition of transparency with local government. It's Lafayette Live on Acadiana's Morning News.
So our Lafayette City Parish Council Chairman Jay Castille joining us on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
All right, so how long was the meeting last night?
It lasted till 12:20 in the morning.
12:20 in the morning. Oh, that's excruciating.
Yeah, it was a long one.
It was a long one, I know.
That's the type of thing that you got to stop at Whataburger after on the way home and get breakfast.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so a lot of stuff to try to go over and tackle. All right, so let's talk a little bit about mosquito control. You know, here in Lafayette, we have a mosquito control program. I think most people would agree it's a pretty solid program, but with things like Zika virus kind of really inundating the news cycle this year, maybe people are a little bit more worried. Was there some discussion about that last night?
We had some discussion about the program. At one time, we had the best program in the state. In the last year, it had been gutted. You can't imagine how much stuff was taken out of the contract. Yeah, especially the Zika virus kicking up like that, and we're going backwards. We're regressing. We're going backwards instead of forwards to try to protect the citizens in Lafayette Parish. So,
well, what happened? How did it get gutted?
Through I guess the last administration, for some reason felt that the contractor was doing too much, or I really couldn't tell you the whole story.
Yeah.
All I know is, they kept pulling things out. Not spraying. They only sprayed twice in 4 months.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not a good record. People are paying for something they're not getting, and we don't like that too much.
No, I guess not. So how do we get this kind of restarted, recharged? What do we do? What y'all talk about?
Well, we asked the administration to go back, look at the original agreement, and put back those items that really help the public out. Source reduction, which is cleaning, some of the standing water areas, such as the parks. Also increase the spraying on weekends. Things that should have never been taken out, really. So they said that they're going to go back in there and look at it. I'm going to look at it closer. I'm going to watch it for the next couple of months and make sure those things go back in. And if it don't, then I'll bring it back to council and we make another ordinance and we're going to do it. So one way or the other is going to get done.
So it's the contract. Was there problems with the contractor as well?
There was no problems with the contractor as far as I can see, as far as the spraying goes. I know they had an issue on the education side for a little while last year or a year and a half ago. I was hoping they would have worked that out, but that shouldn't have hampered the spraying aspect of the contract.
Well, gosh, no, certainly not. Well, so obviously, like you said, you'll be keeping an eye on it. Boy, only 2 times in how many months, you said? 4 months or 2 months?
4 months.
Wow.
Yeah, January through April. So it's twice, and that was at Mardi Gras.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's just, that must, yeah, we definitely must take care of that. That's a little bit frightening.
That's uncalled for if you ask me.
Well, yeah, because for years the program had lots of money in it and it was working appropriately. And I mean,
it still has lots of money.
I was going to say, yeah, so we got to go back there and get that redone so we get those. I used to see those fogger trucks all the time.
Oh, yeah. It was, I mean, everybody's seen them. They really had 8 trucks and 10 trucks lately. I mean, they were rolling and people were glad to see them. And all of a sudden, you don't even see them. You don't hear them or nothing. I mean,
yeah.
And you're paying for this. That's the worst part. I'm paying for a service that I'm not getting.
Yeah.
I'm not too happy about that.
Yeah, I would guess not. Okay, so I've got to ask you about, this is an issue that has come up in the past, several years ago, but then it's also come up now, and that is, and I just want to get your opinion on it, as far as how you see it or what you feel about the situation right now. Whenever we're in the market for someone to head a particular department, a degree versus years of experience or a combination of both. We have an interim police chief right now. So in your mind, should there be a minimum in terms of requirement as far as a degree, or do you think that should be more flexible? Or what's your standing on it right now, Jay?
A degree is always good to have when you're looking for the top cop, I'll call it, or the fire chief. Those two positions are very important. But you shouldn't discount the years of experience either. I mean, some people may be there 25, 30 years and have some personal issues to where they couldn't attend college, but have to work and do part-time work to stay afloat.
Yeah.
But and that person may have, he may be a great chief. So you have to have both. It's a balancing act, and it's something that keeps everybody on the same playing field. But a degree also gives you that person that's a well-rounded person who's been has the experience and also has the education background to move the department forward. So it's like I said, it's a balancing act. It's something that you wanna keep in the qualifications, the experience. So it's, let me put it to you this way. I worked for the fire department for 20 years.
Yeah.
I was under the assumption the whole time I was there that I needed an associate's degree with a little bit of experience and supervisory experience and a bachelor's degree. And experience alone was never in the qualifications that I was aware of. Then Mr. Boudreaux brought us some interesting information last night. And with that information, who knows how many people could have taken the fire chief's test back then.
Oh.
So, it's kind of, on one hand, it's upsetting, and on the other hand, you kind of want to have that highly qualified person at the top. So it's interesting. I really can't say much more because I'm still looking into what Mr. Boudreaux presented last night.
Right. Yeah, one of the things that was also discussed last night, two of the board members, one of them, Craig Forsyth, who is a professor at UL Lafayette, and Ralph Peters, who was once with the Lafayette Police Department, is a professor at Northwestern State University. And I think Mr. Peters also, he served in the leadership capacity for a time as well with Lafayette PD.
Correct,
but there's a question whether or not, based on state law, and opinions by the Louisiana Attorney General, whether or not these two folks actually qualify to be on this board. So there's that aspect too, right?
Yeah, according to what was brought out last night, the Attorney General's opinions and the state statute, that you can't be employed with another government entity, and these two guys are, from what I understand.
Right.
So, yeah, we have to do a better job at vetting our appointments. So that's another thing that's going to be looked at pretty closely from here on out.
Okay. Wow. So I guess we'll have to see ultimately what happens with that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So y'all started your meeting at 5:30 last night?
Yes, ma'am.
Then y'all wrapped up at 12:20 this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
What else happened between 5:30 and then 12:20? My goodness, that sounds like an awful marathon.
Oh, it's a big blur. It was an interesting night. We had quite a few things going on. We had some rezoning issues and some appeals on a subdivision, new subdivision coming up. And when you have those things, they're always controversial because, nobody wants anything in their backyard, or I don't want you to zone my property like that, zone their property like they want, but not mine. It was a long night.
A long night, yeah, due to the zoning issues. Well, our Lafayette City Parish Council Chairman Jay Castille has been our guest. We would obviously we get to talk to you, once a week on our Wednesdays, and we want to keep track of the issues related to the two folks that serve on this particular board, and about the issue about what you can and can't do. But boy, did it kind of punch you a little bit in the gut to think that, hey, maybe you could have qualified at some point, and a whole lot of other people maybe?
Yeah, it could have punched me in the gut and punched me in the face, and you can name it, just punch me anywhere, because that's something everybody strives for, is to get to that top job. And to find out that opportunity actually may have presented itself and no one, told us about it. It's kind of, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Well, Jay, thank you so much for joining us this morning, making us aware of all of the issues, giving us a recap and a recount. And, of course, we'll talk to you next week. And next week joining us will be Nanette Cook along with Jay, and she'll be joining us to give us her point of view as well. Thank you, Mr. Castille. Hope you have a great day. And I hope at some point you get to go to bed early tonight. I mean, you've earned it, right?
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah, that and probably a drink.
Yes, it is.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday.
Y'all too.
Okay, thank you. Wow. That's a long meeting.
Gosh, marathon.
Woo. Marathon, yeah, boy. Huh?
I hope they had waiters and waitresses and bring drinks around, ice chips, aspirin.
Malanta.
I could not. You'd need some Mylanta to get through that.
Oh, yeah.